While most people talk about the glowing benefits of voice-over IP over conventional telecommunication technology, there are certain voice-over IP disadvantages that somewhat steal the glory of this new-age multimedia communications technology. Most of us are aware of the basics and underlying mechanisms of voice-over Internet Protocol technology. For those who are not up to date with its details, voice-over IP is a system that integrates various communication protocols and transmission technologies to offer the facility of conducting voice calls and multimedia sessions using one's Internet connection. Also synonymously referred to as Internet telephony, IP telephony, Voice over Broadband (VoIP), broadband phone and broadband telephony. Voice over IP is generally implemented through the media of any of these 6 protocols: IP Multimedia Subsystem (IPS), Session Initiation Protocol (SIP), Multimedia Gateway Control Protocol (MGCP), Session Description Protocol (SDP), H.323, and Real-Time Transport Protocol (RTP). Since the emergence of this coming-of-age communication and multimedia technology, everyone's been talking about the advantages of voice-over IP, such as low operating cost, flexibility of operation, more multitasking options, versatile utility, etc. However, since every coin has 2 faces, voice-over IP disadvantages are as significant, if not more, as voice-over IP advantages. Let's take a detailed tour of the voice-over IP drawbacks to understand the areas where it falls short of its promised deliverables and what are the reasons behind such lacunae. Time to lift the cover off the ugly side of voice-over IP. Disadvantages of voice-over IP. As far as the voice-over IP advantages are concerned, the following voice-over IP drawbacks, mostly owing to practical infrastructure scenarios and technical reasons, emerge as the biggest disadvantages of voice-over IP that sometimes outweigh the benefits promised by this technology. Let's look at each lacuna in detail. Service quality. Lack of a network-based service mechanism is one of the biggest disadvantages, as due to the absence of a network-based service, chances of loss of data packets and distortion of data sequence are increased. Due to these reasons, voice-over IP services often fail to tackle issues of jitter and latency. Dependency on power. As opposed to conventional telephones, whose lines are directly connected to the telephone company's phone lines, voice-over IP adapters are connected to modems and routers, which function as long as they are powered by locally generated electricity. A power failure, thus, means that you cannot use the voice-over IP service to make a call and have to wait till power is restored. On the other hand, in case of conventional analog telephone services, no such local power source is necessary and communication can be established and continued despite power disruptions. Challenge of portability. One of the major voice-over IP drawbacks is that while voice-over IP works on the least cost routing principle, calls made over voice-over IP often find it difficult to reach their destinations if such destinations happen to be numbers registered with conventional mobile carriers and service providers. Difficulty in calling emergency numbers. Internet protocols find it hard to pinpoint network users on the basis of geographical location. Due to this reason, emergency calls often get routed outside the convenient geographical reach rather than getting connected to the nearest call center. Sometimes, emergency calls may get directed to non-emergency phone lines of the concerned department, and the time lost because of such an occurrence can be detrimental and endangering. Suppose you've been cut by broken glass and the wound is bleeding profusely since you've punctured a vein. Wouldn't you prefer to contact the emergency and trauma center of the hospital directly rather than calling the billing department and waiting till your call gets routed to the appropriate department? And all this time, you'd be bleeding non-stop. Don't you think that's scary and dangerous? Limited faxing capability. Sending fax over voice-over IP is not very effective, as the voice codecs used by voice-over IP technology are not designed for, and conducive to, transmitting fax messages. These codecs are fashioned to be able to convert an analog human voice model into a digital format. Difficulty in calling 911. The emergency service was designed on the basis of PSTN network and was meant to be easily accessible by all telephones on the network. PSTN networks work geographically, and any PSTN telephone connection would be registered under a local address. That way, even if a caller of 911 isn't able to speak to the operator for some reason, the operator can still locate the geographic location and local address based upon the PSTN telephone number from which the call was placed. Now, Voice over IP works on the basis of IP address rather than local address, and the distribution of Voice over IP services is not based upon geographical location either. Therefore, it becomes difficult to trace the location of a call, as a particular geographical location cannot be pulled out of the information an IP address provides, as these two are, in no way, connected. That precisely covers the major disadvantages of Voice over IP and the reasons behind them. Some other challenges like IP and network security issues, PSTN integration and caller identification have been tackled to a certain extent, and soon, these are expected to become non-issues. Hope the same happens to the other aforementioned concerns as well. Once the above-mentioned drawbacks get corrected, Voice over IP would be the undisputed technology and service choice for voice communication and multimedia interactions.